we're asked to calculate the heat in joules, and we see that there's a change in temperature, so this is a heat and temperature change problem. So we're going to be solving this using the equation where the heat is going to be equal to the mass times the specific heat capacity times delta T. Looking to the statement of the question, we see that we have a value for mass. We want our specific heat capacity related to the material, and we also pay attention to the units. So you want the specific heat capacity of aluminum expressed in joules, which is right here. Remember, no need to memorize. All these values were given on the assessments. So we know that we have our specific heat capacity value, and we can calculate our delta T. So our delta T value, as always, is going to be the final temperature minus the initial temperature. And we see that's 124 degrees C. And note the sig figs here, because each of these is good to the ones place. Our delta T is good to the ones place. So we have 3 sig figs. Remember, we have different rules for addition and subtraction. And that's based on decimal places. Not counting the sig figs, but the number of decimal places. So this number is going to have 3 sig figs. We need to remember that when we go at the end when we determine the sig figs in the problem. So we have our delta T value. We have everything we need to turn out our answer, so we can just substitute in our mathematical values here. Our mass is 26.30 grams. Specific heat capacity. We noted that our specific heat capacity is 0.9017, and the units here are joules per gram degree C, and our delta T given into gram C is 124. Okay, we'll check to see if we've set things up right by looking at our units. We see our answer should be expressed in joules, and that's what we're asked to do. So let's enter these values into our calculator. Make sure we do the calculation twice to make sure we have consistent answers and we haven't made a mistake inputting. And I get a calculator value of 2940.624 joules. Now I'm going to go back and look at my significant figures. You look at all the numbers that go into your result. Remember, we have 3 sig figs for a temperature change, 4 sig figs in our heat capacity, 4 sig figs in our mass, so we're going to be limited to 3 sig figs. So we have to express our answer in scientific notation. Let's first convert that whole number to scientific notation. And now we can round that off to 3 sig figs. And our final answer is 2.94 times 10 to the 3rd joules.